I can't tell you how happy I am that Eden Zero has been really taking this downtime after the events of a major story arc where we really did have a lot of opposing sides really clashing for the first time in a solid manner. Because with the events of what happened with, Drac and Joe and all that going on, that was the taste, but this was the all in of Oration Says Interstellar versus Oration Says Galactica versus the Eden Zero crew versus Ziggy's crew. It's all the factions coming together in a massively meaningful way for the first time. And with the honestly shocking amount of main character deaths that happen here, I'm glad we're actually treating this like it's significant. Like, yes, people's lives were lost. There are characters who we'll never get to see again. They've lost that potential for growth, to develop, to progress forward. Everyone has lost someone. That's the thing. And we get to see how all of these characters respond to that loss, and moving forward, how the gears really start to turn. As we pick up with Justice talking with the rest of the Oration Says Interstellar, and they remark over the death of Jaguar, which is ironic considering how he used to be a part of the opposing faction. It makes me kind of wonder what their history was with the Jaguar. What made him turn? They also remark about the death of Creed as well, with Justice even mentioning the fact that many lives were extinguished during this battle. Nothing really good happened here, just a lot of death and destruction. And while one of the members of the Interstellar, Cure, tries to at least put a bit of a positive spin on this, that look, Emperor Nero was defeated. We will offer prayer to our allies who have joined the stars. And Feather, who is the most quiet of the Interstellar, remarks that there are only 4 members of the Oration Says Galactica left. And honestly, another thing that really kind of hits home how, whereas previously we've kind of seen the Oration Says Interstellar as a bit too quick to get into conflict, mostly because of the single-mindedness of Justice, at least from my perspective. I felt that things were a little too single-minded. They feel like a coherent group here, as Feather remarks that Pirate Queen Elsie Crimson, she is not significant to any of this. She is not someone we need to target, which, of course, Justice takes umbrage with this, but Eraser's just like, dude, we've been trying to tell you this for the longest time. She doesn't harm civilians. Yes, you have personal beef with her, which I can't remember if everyone else on this team knows that or not, but we know you got beef with her, but she is the lowest of the low in terms of priority because she's just strong. She's just really strong. It's kind of like Luffy from One Piece if the Marines got their heads out of their ass and was just like, yeah, Luffy's not really a threat. It's just he keeps grabbing things that the people in charge would rather him not be involved with. But it's just like here, it's just like, she's just strong, dude. The rest of them are a massive problem, and we get the rundown on the rest of the Galactica. The other 3 of the Galactica who need to be taken down, Dead End Crow, the Titan of Eternal Darkness. Man, that is such a band name right there. Dead End Crow, like, yes, or Titan of Eternal Darkness. Oh, I'm like hearing heavy metal just in my brain. And he looks kind of like, his silhouette kind of makes him out to be like maybe this old guy, and he's surrounded by all these clocks and gears and stuff like that. Okay, definitely a robot. Though it is interesting because Holy, the one girl who was talking with Justice previously, trying to get his gander up a little bit, she's a little bit of an instigator when it comes to this group. Although she's got her head on straight, but I think there's a little bit of an allusion to the look that she has on her face when Dead End Crow is mentioned, that we're going up against Crow next. He's the next stop on the take down the Oration Says Galactica tour line. So, meaning that Shiki and the crew of Eden Zero are gonna run up against them whether they want to or not, with the way everything else is going. But we also have Archbishop Saint Fire Knox. Interesting name, pretty badass. Honestly, the hardest to make out what he looks like, because his figure kind of makes him look like he doesn't have much in the form of details to his body. So I'm wondering what his form appearance will take. But the fact that he's an archbishop, a holy man, maybe he leads a cult or something like that. Fascinating. But the one that really got my attention, the one that really just perked up my ears, and it should have done it to you too, was God Agnola, the mother of dragons. And I'm just like, oh my god. The way that is spelt, because I'm probably not even pronouncing it right, but Agnola, like, it's essentially spelt out just the same as Acnologia. And the fact that it's a mother of dragons, I'm just like, Irene, Urza's mother. I'm just like, yo. And the dragons that kept appearing throughout the Sakura cosmos and were a bit of an obstacle to our heroes getting to the Oe cosmos. I'm like, okay, dude, you're saving the most interesting thing for last, because I'm just like, I want to know what Agnoella is about. What's her deal? Is she gonna look like Irene? Is she gonna be Elsie's mother? Would, Mashima drag out that same chestnut? And the flip side of Irene would be a caring mother who has been searching for her daughter this whole time. But then again, it's like Agnoella has this relation with the dragons who have just been around the Sakura cosmos for such a long time. So I would assume that maybe Agnoella is a automaton, or potentially someone who has just lived a very long time. It's kind of funny. The more we find out about the Oresian Says Galactica, the more I'm just like, man, Elsie is pretty damn powerful, because the rest of these guys are like no joke. Like, they command like entire empires, and Elsie's just riding around in a friggin' pirate ship. She really is the Luffy of the Eden Zero universe, which is funny because she shares the same voice actor from Luffy from One Piece. But regardless, Kira makes sure that the team has their eyes on the prize. We will have all of them eliminated. I'm still wondering the specifics about Elsie's situation, because it's just like, I mean, whatever happened to her and Justice's homeland, it feels like that shouldn't have completely been her fault. But after the meeting, Justice ends up meeting up with Victory, and, while Victory wasn't supposed to be listening in, he's just like, why didn't you bring up the fact that you ran into Ziggy? Yes, it was Nero who killed Jaguar, but it wasn't only Nero who attacked Jaguar. So I don't know if Justice is playing things towards his own kind of favor in terms of this or what. There's also the fact that Victory wants to talk about the death of Creed. And we also find out that the Eden Zero had actually sent his body back to them. And Jess, being the sniveling little worm that he is, like, Mashima's going out of his goddamn way to make me hate this character, as he just keeps descending further and further into being a bastard, as he tries to be the first one to check on the pod that holds Creed's bodies, and he sees that there is a log that details how Creed died, and so Jess erases it like a fucking asshole. And I'm just like, this dude needs to die. Like, no, it's not cool. Good people like Creed and Witch end up losing their lives, and this douchebag gets to keep running around the cosmos, fucking things up for everyone else? Fuck this guy. I want to know his backstory, because I'm just like, why? Why are you like this? Why are you so terrible? And I love the fact that Victory's just like, something here don't add up. Something's not right about any of this. why would they return the body? And Justice is just like, to make an example out of him because he believes the worst and anything. It's just like, yeah, that doesn't hold water, bro. You make an example out of someone by, brutally maiming them. If they want to make an example of him, they would have strung his body up, they would have decapitated his head and put it on a pike or something like that, and they just send us the body back with one gunshot wound in the middle of a violent war. It kind of feels like this, like, it feels like Victory's kind of alluding that, yeah, this feels like it was maybe an accident, whereas Justice is fully just willing to believe that Jess saying that they killed him, but Victory doesn't believe it. He's just like, kid was in some kind of shock. He might have not seen things correctly, but Justice, he starts getting all up in his emotions, and it's just like, I mean, our friend is still dead. And Justice has this moment of remembrance. It's just like, Creed came away from his homeland looking to find a way to change it. He was kind, and he wanted to make a difference. He had a life that could have been lived, a future that was stolen, and with tears streaming out of his eyes. And I gotta tell you, in this moment, I was glad that his hair is at least colored white, because I'm just like, Justice, you looking just like freaking Seaheart and Jalal. And I'm just like, man, I'm glad you at least have different colored hair. But Justice swears justice on those who killed Creed. Like, he swears to hunt down the people who did in his ally, which is actually kind of fascinating, because ultimately it just goes to show that Justice's good heart just tends to overwhelm every other aspect of his being. Like, forget Justice, his name should be Vengeance, Retribution, something along those lines. And I love Victory's look, where he's just like, yeah, no, something's rotten here. And Jess, sniveling little bastard, just like it was Homura Kogetsu from the Eden Zero. She's in league with Elsie, she's the daughter of Madame Kurenai. She seduced Creed and then killed him. And, well, Justice seems to just be fully willing to just like, okay, Homura Kogetsu will die for what she did. Victory just over there like, yeah, no. like, I love this guy's expression, because it's just like, you could just have sus written right across his face. It's just like, you looking pretty sus, Jez. Like, something about what you're saying does not add up to me. Because, both Victory and Creed have encountered the crew of the Eden Zero. He's encountered Elsie's crew. They've all come in contact with each other. Victory knows that none of these people are just, boom, kill a man, be done with it, go about their business. It's just like, no, the people I met just did not give off that vibe whatsoever. And I love the fact that the guy who seems like he would be the one with the hottest temper is the one who's just like, no, something's not right here. Which honestly means he has to die. Like, I'm sorry, it means Victory has to die, because either that or he ends up discovering everything that has been going on and he brings it all to light and he just pummels Jess's ass into the dirt while we eventually get Jess's sad backstory about why he's a little shit, because it's a fascinating subplot to have going forward. We then cut over to Sandara, where the rebels were based out of, and poor Homura just thinking back to Creed and hoping that his body at least made it back home. But the pod was programmed by Hermit, so it should have. It just sucks that she's unaware of what she's going to end up being blamed for, like the assassination of someone she actually held in fairly high regard as a person. And while Shiki does question why not return him to his homeland, with everything that Homura has been through on the Eden Zero in general, she's just like, well, Witch said everyone on a ship is family, so she thought it was best to return him to his family, which I love that. I love that, which had this just interesting impact on Homura that just lies beneath the surface. And then the massive unit that is Goodwin strolls on up. I'm just like, man, Mashima just wanted to put Panther Lily to shame. Part of me would love it if Goodwin did join the Eden Zero, but I'm not sure. Like, after everything that went on, I don't quite see it happening. But, oh man, Goodwin just has such a fun design. But he rolls up, questions where Rebecca is, and with Rebecca using Cat Leaper so many times, she is in not great condition at the moment. She needs her rest. With Shiki, I believe, is still kind of blaming himself for what happened to her. But Goodwin has kind of come to just discuss about the mourning process. It's just like, you've lost friends as well. We've lost a lot of our allies. So today, we're sending off everyone who will be joining the stars. And, this is such a beautiful moment. It's just, because it makes me think of, like, Tangled and all those different, like, a lot of culture, to a certain degree, kind of adopt this. And this is sending up lanterns that have this small little flame in them that represents a person's life. And you just send them up into the stars of the night sky, and those represent your loved ones who have passed on. And in the Aoi cosmos, when someone dies, they say they went into the sea of stars, gone but never forgotten. And it's just like, oh, beautiful stuff like that. Just, it friggin' guts me. It guts me like nothing else. And obviously Shiki sends up one for Witch. Pino sends up one for, I don't know who Pino would have sent up one for. Maybe I'm forgetting, but Homura definitely sent one up for Creed. And you just see this beautiful shot of all these lanterns, guy, and just, oh man, Majima, you just really brought your A game with that scene. It's just absolutely beautiful. And you get the shot of Homura tearing up, Pino tearing up, Chris and Klein just kind of looking on for the most part. And over on the Eden Zero, you get to see Rebecca, Sister, Hermit, Happy, looking on at the site, Goodwin, the rest of the rebellion, hell, even the Allied force, the enemy forces, those who served under Nero looking on. And you have this interesting moment of Laguna shedding a single tear for, his princess, as it were. And Wise just looking over to Laguna and then looking towards the sky, and it's just like, damn. Like, just a shot like that just feels like it says a million words to what could possibly be going through Wise's head. Like, put your thoughts in the comment section below what you think is going through Wise's mind. And I don't feel like he meant to, but Shiki kind of gives almost this beautiful eulogy for Witch. Like, mentioning that they go home to the Sea of Stars, and then he mentions Witch regret. Eden's mother will never forget you. You'll always be in our heart. Ending the chapter. And the past few chapters of Eden Zero has just continued to manage to just rip out my very heart and lay it bare. Because it's really given such a prominent series of deaths for all of these characters, plenty of time to breathe for the audience to take stock of where these characters are in terms of their headspace. Enough time of a bit of mourning for these characters. Sometimes in a series, so much action is going on where the heroes have to get away. They can't stay behind and mourn. There's no time. You just gotta leave them behind. We've lost someone. We don't have time to truly just dwell on that for long enough. And Mashima, every once in a while, an author will be just like, no, this needs time to breathe. This needs time to just sink in for the characters and the audience. And that's what he's been doing. The death of Creed, the death of Witch, the death of Laguna's princess, the death of some of Goodwin's people, hell, even the death of Nero. Things just needed a moment to just sink in that people are now running on a lot of emotion. And a lot of perspectives have probably been changed on how they'll go forward from here on out. What will Shiki's mindset about searching for Mother be from this point going forward? Will he try to resurrect Witch? Is there potential there? Or is it simply just to continue the journey to make the quest that Witch died on worth it in the end? Hell, which member of the Orician Says Galactica do you think our heroes will end up encountering next? My money's still on Dead End Crow. And how do you think Jess's deception will come to light? I definitely feel that it will be Victory who finds out. I mean, hell, he was Creed's partner, so it makes a lot of sense, but how he'll get that evidence, I feel like Jess will just end up spilling the beans to some degree, and I have to wonder if Victory will just forgive Jess, or if he'll give him the beatdown that a lot of people want Jess to receive. And what if Justice, he continues to be governed by his emotions? Will we ever reach a point where he's able to move past that as a character? Or will it just continue to be something that eats away at him and consumes him? And now Homura, wanted for murder, potentially? That's really messed up. That's the one that's just like, no, Homura does not deserve that. She in no way deserves to be accused of killing someone, especially from her homeland. And that's definitely something that cued in Victory that, like, I'm pretty sure he was there to meet Homura. He was there at that moment. He met Homura. He's just like, yeah, he knows that she's not like that. Not to mention, when it comes to Rebecca, will her overuse of Cat Leaper, continue to be a source of repercussions from her? Like, will she be back in active within the next few chapters? Will she be limited in how she uses her power until she's fully healed? There could be consequences there as well. There is definitely a lot to really process there, and I'd love to hear your thoughts, feelings, and theories in the comments. And if you like this video, please like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for notification. But until next time, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din, and I'll see you on the next voyage of the Eden Zero. Bye-bye.